The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now, new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. You've heard me talk about Cal-Ben 5-star soaps for years. This is an American-made product of the highest quality and compares to nothing you will find in stores. You can buy factory direct, shipped via UPS right to your door. Check them out on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091. Take my word for it. Once you've used Pure Soap, you won't buy anything else. Since 1947, Cal-Ben Soap Company has been showing consumers that soap can be tough on dirt and gentle on the environment. Buy American and stay clean, as well as support Infowars. Visit 5starsoap.com today or call 1-800-340-7091. Well, Marty, what do you have to say?
As founder and owner for over 63 years, satisfaction is guaranteed or double your dirt back. Call us at 1-800-340-7091 for a free catalog or visit our website, 5starsoap.com. Thank you.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
I have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Okay, just briefly getting back to the Alex Jones YouTube channel. We've actually got about 8 channels with a total of about 110 million views just on our channels, counting other channels and films. Conservatively, over 200 million views just in the last 2 years on YouTube alone. That's 200 million people that have watched the clip from start to finish. I mean, that's devastating. We reach millions every day on the radio show, millions on the websites, millions of people been reached by folks buying the DVDs, making copies, giving them to people, airing them on Access Television, having public showings. This is how the grassroots is having a big effect and overpowering the mainstream media and discrediting them to the point of they're now openly pushing for censorship and control of the web and shutting down our speech. It's being called for over the weekend by more than 20 publications, specifically calling to shut down Glenn Beck and myself. And whether you love Glenn Beck or hate him, he doesn't deserve to be shut down and have his free speech taken. So, bottom line, they go in and they file fake complaints constantly, and then we just have to put filings in, and then it bumps it up to basically to where it's about to go to federal court, and we say, okay, we're ready to go to court, sign the affidavits, And they put all sorts of fake claims in just continually. But that's okay. It doesn't make us mad. That's what happens when people want to shut you down. That's what happens when you have an effect. You know, they've trained us as Americans to be decadent and think, somebody's attacking me, or somebody's criticizing me, or somebody's censoring me. I'll just give up. You know, I'm sick of this. No, I'm like, okay, this comes with the territory. I mean, I have scratched and clawed and climbed my way up from absolutely nowhere, thanks to our listener support, to the point of we have a platform, counting internet, films, and the radio show every day, that conservatively reaches around 3.5 million people. And a lot of them are new people every day. And so I'm not going to give up. Now, I said I'm taking your phone calls, and I have a bunch of key news we're also going to be getting into here in just a moment. But right now, let's go back to the calls. Let's talk to John in Texas. John, you're on the air.
Yes, great show. Just 2 quick points. 2006 Mexican presidential election, from what I researched, was contested by López Obrador. And what he did is he created a parallel government, gaining the support of a lot of the independent cartels. And, of course, the Zetas, or more of an arm of the Mexican current government. And if you notice, the drug war started. More
than that, I want to back up everything you just said. Yes, it's clear that Calderon did steal the election. You know, even mainline political analysts looked at, he probably won by, we're talking 15 points from the numbers I saw. I mean, they stole it in regions, not just for him, but the party he's part of, by numbers of higher than 15%. And he did start a parallel government. And this is what's happening in Mexico, is a war between the Mexican government, backed up by the U.S. trained and J.P. Morgan Chase backed, literally, Los Zetas. And we had 6 years ago, before all this really kicked off, Celi Castillo and others who'd worked with the DEA, he was actually the head of the DEA down in Latin America, saying all of this was coming. And so, yes, it's a civil war / depression / just crime wave. But I just wanted to back up what you're saying is completely accurate. Please continue.
Yeah. And I've been doing the research, for been with the show about 12 years. And what I've been trying to push through the media is that point that it is a civil war. We need to address that first, and then we can properly send in whatever troops we need to reinforce the border. Now, the second issue, like you always reaffirm, is we do need to run for, like the Texas House is what I do plan on running for in 2012 against the corrupt Donna Dukes. And indictments are what I would like to go after as far as her and Kirk Watson sticking a toll road through my district, where they could have upgraded 973, which runs parallel with this toll road. And now that they have a toll road in place, they can't upgrade 973.
No, that's what they do. They take the money for existing roads, they build toll roads, or they get around the federal law against tolling and the state law against tolling existing roads, and they restripe them like they're about to do MOPAC. And it's just completely illegal. And the legislature has said no. The people have said no. We've all said stop it, and they don't care because they're bought and paid for by multinationals like Centra of Spain and Zachary of Australia.
So I'll do a grassroots, I guess, type of campaign. Donna Dukes has never really been challenged, and the way I want to go about it is to run against her as a Democrat, because the Democrat will always win that district, and hopefully if I get in place, I can help your fight as far as putting some of these guys in prison.
Well, it's not my fight. It's your fight too, brother. We're all in this together.
You have a good one.
Well, thank you, John. Let me know when you run for office. We'd like to see more about your campaign. God bless. Great points. Yeah, we've been talking about the Civil War in Mexico even before it kicked off. And basically, in Mexico, it was kind of a free-for-all. The big mega banks and the top 20 or so rich families that run it controlled the telecoms, the roads, the oil, the water, the plantations, and that's what those farms are down there. And the people that work on them are basically serf slaves. They call them peons or peons. And it's just another form of slavery going on. And the population's more than doubled in the last 30 years. People are angry. And so the decision was made, and we called this before it happened, to start a war down there against the other cartels and regional leaders who weren't paying their cut into major U.S. and globalist banks. Because it was drugs. Drugs is a $500 million a year industry just out of Mexico alone. The heroin, the cocaine, the marijuana, and other things. not to mention prescription drugs. That's even bigger, but that's quasi-legal / illegal. But the issue here is that they're trying to set up a total monopoly over that $500 billion. And there are a lot of poor people in Mexico. The only job they can have is in the drug trade. And so they're not giving up their wealth. And now it's a war of attrition. Who can be the most dastardly? Who can be the most ruthless? Who can be the most murderous? Who can terrorize the others better? And so it's getting worse and worse and worse. Great points, John. Wilson in Florida, you're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon, Alex. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. I just wanted to say the money bomb was amazing. Like, that much information and different information coming out for that long straight was just very intriguing. But I just have two quick questions. I just wanted to ask, I was watching Ron Paul's debate yesterday for the senator.
Rand Paul, yeah.
Yes, Rand Paul. And I was just curious, why have you never had Rand Paul on the show, and would you have him on the show?
Well, we've had Rand Paul on, but I have chosen, I'm just going to leave it at this, I have chosen not to have Rand on because they ran TV ads in Kentucky against him with clips of my show. And they have tried to demonize him through my show. So I just haven't attempted to get him on the show. I'll just leave it at that. So there's your answer.
Well, that's great. That's great. At least he's, connected with you. And last question. I watch PBS now sometimes, and they talk about evolution. I know that's a theory. I just want to hear what you believe about that, and that's all.
Thank you so much, Wilson. Let me cover the Rand Paul situation briefly, and then I'll get into your evolution question briefly, because we could spend 100 hours on that alone. Here's the headline. McClatchy's making a big deal out of this. Rand Paul refuses to shake hands with opponent Conway after debate. This was the 4th of 5 debates. Conway, just total slimeball. I mean, and he's about 14, 15, 11. I mean, the polls run the gamut. From 11 points to 15 points, Rand Paul's set to win. But there's a lot of election corruption in every state in the union, and Kentucky is no different. A lot of great people there. Rand is probably going to win. I've talked to Ron Paul on air and off air about his view, but it is going to be a lot closer than you think. Ron Paul has said on air and off air to me that they are really pulling out all the stops to try to defeat Rand. They already had the neocons try to run the other guy against him. It was pro-bailout and the rest of it. They already tried to lie about him. They already had Dick Cheney come out against him. They've done everything they can to beat Rand. And that's the certification right there that he's the real deal. Now the Democrats have claimed he's not a doctor. He is a doctor on record, graduated school. In fact, a very prestigious eye doctor. I mean, incredible lies. They claimed he kidnapped a woman and made her do drugs. Turned out none of that was true. It was a big frat party at Baylor up here just a few miles north of me in central Texas. Well, to be technical, about 100 miles north of here. It turned out that wasn't true. They said that he was against the Civil Rights Act. When you can watch him on Matt Al's show, and she says, do you want to get rid of the Civil Rights Act? And he's like, I can't hear you. Yes, I can hear you now. Do you want to get rid of the Civil Rights Act? No. And they took that and had him say, yes, I can hear you. And even though 5 seconds later he said, no, I'm not for getting rid of it, that was another hoax. And so this creature that he is running against, that Rand Paul is running against, continued to say, I question your Christianity. Why were you part of a fraternity that made fun of Christ? Knowing there's a lot of Bible Belt people there in Kentucky, which he didn't do anything to Christ. He's a Christian on record. He said he's anti-abortion. But some Christians will say, I don't care if the other guy's pro-abortion, kill babies. I don't like it that he supposedly, made fun of the Aqua Buddha when he was reportedly in college 20-something years ago. Or almost 30 years ago. So it's just a complete distraction and diversion. And he continued in the debates. I wasn't even going to give it any attention today, but you brought it up. But I've watched parts of it. Just like, well, you're kidnapping women, Rand. Well, you're tying them up. Well,